Assalamu Forth Paladins, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command, Orion Pirates Plus Mod. I'm Fleet Admiral Tarek of the HMS Insouciant, as we continue our campaign against the Lyran Star Empire, and we have taken most of this empire. We're down to just a very few planets left to fully conquer, and then once we do that, well, there will be no more Lyran Star Empire, much to the Marak's delight and irritation in the fact that they've lost the only chance to actually steal the entire Star Empire. So, without further ado, let us continue off into space to just continue to bombard everything that we can get our hands on, and we shall rush ourselves immediately into a planetary assault. Exactly where we want to be. We are, after all, a battleship carrier, fully designed and capable of taking on the most powerful of foes, including the Cave Lion class battleship right here. So this is the most powerful Lyran battleship design that they currently have, and we're going to utterly spank it. We are being escorted today by HMS Gallant, which is a PT-1R, basically our little resupply freighter, and the HMS Battle Axe, which is also a Monarch battleship carrier. So we're going to basically kick his butt. Also, the planet is just a PL-12, so no actual defenses aside from 8 Phaser 3s, which have a maximum range of 2.99. So we're good. Let's, however, make sure that we actually start our systems off right. We're going to overload all the weapons on board, and at the same time, we're going to make sure that our electronic countermeasure is set to a power strength of 4, with the electronic countermeasure set to a strength of 2. That way, that should keep some of his defenses under control, while making us a little bit harder to hit. We will then buff all the additional power to the forward shield, check our power stats, and start stealing most of that power we just shoved into that shield, so that we can move a little bit quicker. We're not exactly the fastest battleship out there, although we're pretty quick. The Federation battleship, as we've seen during our Wednesday stream campaigns, is fast. Like, really fast. If it wants to, it can maintain full speed at full power. But us, not so much. So, not seeing any additional craft at the moment. We're going to set a probe just to be sure, but it doesn't appear like this battleship has brought any friends to the table. No doubt a result of us capturing all of their planets and annihilating all of their shipyards. So, we're in a really powerful position at this point. Basically, it's all over but for the crying. We're going to come in here and we're going to blast him with a metric ton of firepower, and then we're going to deploy our fighters on top of that, and they will supply several more tons of firepower. And if he actually manages to survive all that, well, then we've got another Monarch-class battleship carrier coming in right behind us. Yeah, he's kind of screwed. So we're just going to keep on course with him, adjusting very slightly. Long-range blinking fire, not able to get through our 5.5 points of power in the forward shield. And he's deployed his pseudo-frigates, but I'm not going to bother with them. A couple of disruptor hits hitting, but again, not quite able to get through our defenses. He's already starting to take long-range hellbore fire, and that will continue to weaken his shields until the point where they're useless. And we're preparing our own hellbores just to sort of defend against any sort of expanding sphere generator nonsense. And start to slow down because he has activated his ESG. Pop it. And a second one. Too late. Point blank range firing. 244. Our forward shield has dropped, which is not great. I wanted to avoid that if at all possible, but we decided we were going to tank it in the face. So let's deploy our fighters to see if they can't go and annihilate this guy in short order. The hunter killers from the other Monarch battleship carrier already laying into it. Even with only their Phaser 3 mounts, they are devastating, although the hellbores on our Hornets, a little bit more so. Let's quickly call our fighters back home. We want to make sure that we get everybody back on board. That way, nobody gets lost in the middle of space. We'll then target the planet and all systems to normal mode, although we probably could overload if we really wanted to. I don't really care so much for it. So, defend me. Hopefully that'll fix him back so he'll return to us. And if not, we'll order him to defend one of our friends. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, no. I have 33 points of power in the forward shield. That's why it's still up. So, calling our fighters home as best as we can. Come on, please, guys. Unfortunately, the fighters do not like to listen all of the time. There we go. Where's our last squadron? Right up here. Is he coming back home? It actually does look like he will be returning to us. Lovely. So let's kick on the speed and start getting underway. Bombarding this planet is going to be simple enough. Since it can't shoot back beyond a range of 3, we can just sit here and blast away and nobody will be the wiser. It's going to be rather brilliant, actually. Including even the Gallant will be able to get involved with this. I mean, actually, no, maybe not. He only has a pair of missile launchers, which will not get through the number of tractor beams and phaser emitters, and he's only got 2 Phaser 3s of his own. So he doesn't get to fight in this one, but he will orbit at range. And there he goes, entering into his orbit as the AI is terrified of getting anywhere near a planet. Which is justifiably so. There are two things in this game which actually do have collision meshes, and that's planets and asteroids. And if you touch either one of those, you die instantaneously, without a second thought. And in fact, if you want to go see a rather amusing case of us getting a little bit too close to a planet and bumping into it, you can go look back to season, I want to say it's 4, but it might be 3. Our first Merak campaign, not the one we most recently did, but the one way back ago, in the bad old days. And, yeah, that, we accidentally bumped a carrier into a planet. Wasn't intentional, but it did rather amusingly annihilate our carrier right off the bat. So we're just going to cruise ourselves within range of the planet, an optimal range for all of our weapons to fire. Well, not quite for the fusion cannons, but then again, the fusion cannons are never happy unless you're sitting right on top of the enemy. Unless the gun barrel is pointed right at their head, they do not care. They're like, I will do basically no damage, and we'll just bring it into a stop right here. Don't need to get any closer than that. The planet can't actually defend itself. In fact, the planet defenses are probably destroyed by this point anyway. Just gotta take out another single group. There we go. Enemies have been fully pacified, and we're just gonna wait for our Marines to finish taking the entire planet, and that'll be a great victory for us right off the bat. So it's always lovely when we get to fight the PLs instead of the PLPHs, because they're not able to defend themselves. They don't have any shields or massive Phaser 4 batteries, which can just butcher even a battleship. But not today. Alright, so this should be 495, I believe. Yes, indeed. So 495 prestige is our reward for a job well done. And Empire Defense is down to 31. Ooh, they are vulnerable. They're definitely getting to the point where we're going to really be able to start causing some havoc and pain, but they're going to throw a shipyard assault our way. Going to have to knock out any more of those building facilities where they can produce any more of those battleships. And we're squaring off against a single heavy cruiser and a single light cruiser at this point. There could be a third ship out there. That's entirely possible. But our allies on this one are the Hunt King, which is a Merak battleship, and the Bonehammer, which is a Merak heavy dreadnought. And we're fighting up against an NTGP and a CWX. Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. I'm sorry, guys, but you brought the wrong tool for the job. Which, to be fair, this is probably all they've got left. I mean, we have been systematically annihilating their entire construction and economy, taking it over for ourselves, which is one of the reasons why we start getting so many battleship escorts at this point, because all of this tech that they would normally have for their production of battleships, we're stealing, and we're not going to give it back. Although they have burned a little bit of our armor off, so there is some concern on that. And so he is indeed a pseudo-frigate carrier. Not quite sure which letter in this, probably the P, indicates that, and he's about to deploy his expanded sphere generator, and we're about to shut it off because we don't want to have to deal with that. So we're going to get right on top of him. This is good enough fire. Not quite able to kill him, but fairly decently mauled. 157 damage onto him. His pseudo-frigates are about to launch into a position to be somewhat irritating, so I'm going to launch my fighters into attack mode. We're going to send them right off into the enemy. Let their hellbores do the talking. That is, yeah. That's pretty much exactly what we had planned. And is that everybody? No, here it is. Here's the CWXB. I'm going to set my fighters to close in defense, set them by me. That way they'll stick nice and tight and hopefully not get themselves too overextended, which can happen pretty easily. I mean, they do like to be kind of aggressive and throw themselves into the middle of the enemy, and it's just a good idea to kind of keep them back while you reset and rearm. So we're going to increase the speed of time and decrease the speed of the ship because we need to wait for a couple more systems to come back online before we want to get into point blank range. Lots of plinking fire away from his disruptors as he blasts into us. It's not probably going to be too effective, and the Hornets already getting involved, just letting their Hellbores fly, using the entire secondary of their battery because they can fire 2 shots of Hellbores before they need to come back and reload. And yeah, I'm not going to let you try. There we go. So all the defenders have been defeated. We will now call back our fighters because we would like them to be home. That way they do not die. Just make sure you all get home because it's very important. Is everybody coming home? Do you have the order to? It's not clear. Maybe? Alright, perfect. So we've got everybody back home. And we're squaring off against Romulan Fleet Repair Docks. Now, the thing about Romulan Fleet Repair Docks is they have plasma torpedoes. and D-type defensive plasma torpedoes, but we're not going to bother putting our fighters into any sort of danger. And the F-type plasma torpedo can deal 20 damage, which actually does make it one of the better defended star docks. There could be an argument made for missile-armed star docks, just purely from the perspective of you can spam a lot of missiles at somebody. 6 missiles at a time from multiple sources. You can wear someone down with that kind of fire. So, oh, wow, looks like their little tiny fighters are already dealing a pretty good job, although they're all dead by this point, I think. Or at least they will be. Yeah, he's got one fighter back, and he's probably going to get mined on his way out. Nope, it's going to be the D-type plasma torpedo. Ooh, nope, it was the phaser one. So none of the above. And I need to, quickly shut that off, because I do not want my phaser gatlings to be interrupting my potential to annihilate everything. I really also would wish that the Marak would not continually waste missile fire, but that's just because we're normally a Marak player, and it's somewhat irritating to watch the AI play our faction stupidly. Okay, there goes the first one. On to the next one. So yes, the Marak are not particularly clever. Or at least the AI for the Marak is not particularly clever, but that's not really saying much. But them constantly firing missiles and not letting those missiles actually make it to their destination before they refire and lock out all their drone links is a little bit weird. And as you can see, the D-type plasma torpedo just doing a number on them, although it would if it weren't for the fact that, you know, they were shutting off their own missiles. But now we're all at point-blank range, just spraying phaser fire people. And that's the second one. So we've got basically a gaggle of battleships here. Well, 2 battleships and a heavy dreadnought, which is a pretty significant amount of firepower when you stop to think about it. Like, a terrifying amount of firepower. And when you bring this much firepower to bear on a single star dock, it's not gonna last very long. So we're just going to trundle along, head right on into this last star dock, and annihilate it with everything we've got. Because I don't think he has the capability of knocking through our shields anymore. Even if we didn't have any reinforcement going, I'm fairly positive the massed fire of his plasma torpedo probably wouldn't be able to make it through. Could be wrong on that, but I really don't think that I am. So here comes his last firing of a plasma torpedo. We'll let it bounce right off the hull. I don't think it even managed to flicker the reinforcement at all. And their point defense system. No, you don't. Oh, he did it just in time. Slow down. Come around. Oh, so he's just going to extend the time. The irritation of having to fight Romulan star docks. You are, at the end of the day, a building. You shouldn't be able to move and stealth. Because it doesn't move. So if it doesn't move, and it cloaks, we should know exactly where it is and have no trouble at all finding it and killing it. Although we do have enough firepower on this ship to just overcome that sort of defense, so there is that. Alright, let's find out. This should be 450? Yeah, 450 prestige, down to 26. Oh, we're getting close. But an asteroid-based defense has come up, but I'm not going to take it. We're going to go on a patrol instead. Because asteroid assaults are irritating. Not incredibly so. Asteroids have no shields after all, and so they're not super difficult to take on. But a quick assault against a freighter, much easier to do. There could be another ship somewhere out here. In fact, we'll probably send a probe just to make sure about it. I would actually... Yep, there he is. He's also a freighter. We don't care. So, send out a probe, increase the speed of the ship. Not going to bother with any sort of crazy setups for electronic countermeasure. We're just going to buff up the forward shield with all the extra power that we happen to have. We're going to hit R. Well, actually, no. First, we're going to overload the phasers, just in case. I mean, it's free, basically. As long as the phaser capacitor is charged, then it's not going to give you any additional. And it's going to sap as much power when it does go try and do things. So, not really a big deal. So he is an FQS, a full-on Q ship. He will, of course, have an expanding fuel generator that can do potentially 20 damage. And we don't care, because we can do that. Before we could even get into ESG range. Hello, little P2R. And there... Ooh, not quite. He's going to survive a little bit longer. As we take him, plink him apart. So let that be a lesson to you all. If you discover that there is a battleship anywhere near in the area... Probably not a great idea to decide that the Q ships are going to be sufficient to take it on. Just a thought. You can make it what you will. Although, I would be interested to see whether or not a Federation Q ship could take on a battleship. Not a Hydran battleship, to be sure. A Hydran battleship would kill them because a Hydran battleship has fighters. But, say, a Lyran battleship, which is incredibly short-ranged and easy to, well, kite. Alright, so we're being escorted by twin heavy dreadnoughts, the Killing Song and the Vengeance, and a single enemy BBX. The planet itself, according to the fleet screen, is a PL-15, so relatively simple to annihilate. So let's overload all the systems over there and go through our standard battle rattle setup. So we're just going to reinforce the forward shield as much as we can, add into that a whole bunch of electronic countermeasure, as well as the full overload status on all of our guns, because that's what makes it fun. Probe. There is another battleship, but I'm not super worried. After all, we do have two friends who are heavy dreadnoughts. Two heavy dreadnoughts versus a single battleship should be a battle that ends in favor of the heavy dreadnoughts. Can't guarantee that, of course, but in general, that's the case how it normally works. We're gonna launch our fighters. Yes, it's gonna attract a lot of fire. They're gonna shoot the fighters. They generally do. But this will also give us the ability to very quickly cut through him in all of his guises. Start slowing down a little bit, so we have a little bit of defensive shielding going on here. Slow down the speed of time. I kind of wish that you would hang back a little bit, guys. Stay in my shadow so I can basically take care of the ESG for you. Thank you. Turning off so that they're not going to go ahead, which is a great idea. But no, now they're curling in. That's unfortunate. But they are opening up a shield quite nicely for me. And already he's got a big old hole in him. They are just going to town. I was able to use just my phasers in order to take care of that, but we need to get the fighters back home ASAP because they are quite badly damaged. Well, some of them are, and I'd rather not lose any squadrons. So we'll get them all back as soon as we can. We'll start to slowly come around. Where are you? There you are. But there is a fighter that is down, I believe, to one ship, and we'd like to preserve that as much as we can. Please tell me there's at least 3 fighters in the hold right now. There are. Okay, so where's the last one? It's a group of 4, so a little less likely to just die right off the bat. So come back in. Good. All right, so all of our fighters back home. We're basically just going to slow down, tank up, and get ready to annihilate. Our phaser capacitor is not nearly as high as I would like it to be, if I'm completely honest. I would much prefer it if it were going to be full charge, but it's about to be. Come on, just a little bit more, and we'll have the full charge of the phaser capacitor and basically be able to wipe him out in one-ish shot. So, is he turning away? Well, the range is still a little bit long. I'd like to get slightly closer to him. But our forward shield is coming along quite nicely. Okay, our forward shield is getting collapsed as we speak, but we're about to pull within range where I think we can actually use the fusion cannons, which is right about here. Annihilated. Lovely. And our forward shield actually did manage to survive that battle. That's lovely. Hold up and select. We can keep on overload. There's no reason not to at the end of the day. So we're going to slowly trundle towards the planet, and then we'll park right outside its range and blast it into oblivion. So managed to keep our shields at full power, managed to keep our fighters on board. So throughout this entire mission today, not just this one, but all the ones we've played so far, we've only had a single shield penetration, and that was partly because we decided to get a little bit greedy and get a little bit close. I've only managed to get the one shot once so far, but I'd like to get another, just because it's a lot of fun to be able to say that you one-shotted a battleship. And we can pick up the pace a little bit, but not too much. We're not super open to that, although we do need to come over here and all additional power to the electronic countermeasure, because he's not going to be shooting at me, so I don't need any sort of defenses on that one. But he is attempting to defend himself, so there is that working against us. Okay, let's start to slow down so we don't accidentally slide right into the planet, as that can be rather embarrassing if you happen to accidentally do that. Because, well, yeah, it's not great. So a distance of 6, we can pull it a little bit closer than that. We want to get right up on top of it. I think one barrage might be enough to completely wipe out the planet, and I'd like to give it a shot. We're not going to be able to get our Gatling phasers in on this one, because they're not going to be quite within range, although we could probably get... actually, yeah, let's just pull within range. We have the capability. So we're not within range of all of our weapons. All weapons select. Check how many Marines he's got. 17. He has 0. Send to the Marines. So yeah, all it took was one titanic barrage. And now we wait as our Marines finish securing the planet, which they will do in remarkably short order. Because they're Hydrogen Marines, they have 3 arms, they can shoot 3 guns at one time. Obviously, clearly that's exactly how it works. Or maybe they can shoot and reload without ever having to pull down from the ready position. Well, make of it what you will. 495 prestige is a fairly decent reward for that. The Empire defense is down to no more than 21. Oh, they're having a bad day. We'll take a quick on patrol over here just to clean up this tile very swiftly. Or at least that's a hope, unless we get ambushed by multiple battleships, in which case life might get angry. Oh, it's a Hellbore monster. How cute. And a frigate. A Lyran frigate. And we brought a freighter. So we've got a living cage small, so you're not going to have a whole heck of a lot going for you there. And a tiny Lyran frigate, which unless you're an X-type frigate, you're nothing to me. Yeah, you're a military police frigate. That's cute. I'll give you that. Overload the weapon system. We're going to basically demonstrate the thunder and fury that the Hydrons can generate with only the main weapons on our ship. The Hydron battleship carrier is a phenomenal piece of equipment, and I am very pleased to have it. They do, of course, have a heavy war destroyer. He's a little bit more dangerous. I'm going to dive on top of this living cage. It's just the easiest and clearly the most important target for us to go after. Also not going to bother with any actual electronic countermeasure. We're just going to go full ECCM. No, yeah, I take that back. We're going to go the 4-2. Except we're going to do the reverse 4-2, so the 2-4, I suppose. And we'll dive on top of the LCL, and then we'll just annihilate him. He does have a Hellbore, which makes him a little bit more irritating, just because he's going to hurt my shields in ways that I don't want him to. Mainly he's going to focus all his fire there. But at the same time, actually no, he survived. I am stunned and amazed. Slow down. Yep, that's him firing his heavy weapons into us. Ooh, definitely stop. Oh, we stopped just in time to prevent ourselves from getting hit by that, which, ooh, we should probably actually slow down the speed of time and pay attention to what's actually going on around us. Hellbores to normal mode, free up a whole ton of power on this one. So we're getting mobbed a little bit, which is fascinating. Let's kill this Wild King really quick. Actually, no, you're right on top of me. But I have no phaser power, because I spent it all on other things. 3 heavy weapons. It's a long-range shot, but it'll work. As you come around, you shall reveal your open shields to more of my phasers as they charge. Let's get the power going up here. We'll actually get some repairs underway. So they've managed to do it. What they couldn't do with battleships, they managed to get done with frigates, which is pretty impressive. Although we didn't exactly play this one as we probably should have. Deploy the fighters. Go kill everything. We're going to activate our final form here and basically annihilate everything. 1. Yeah. And 2. Lovely. And I don't think I'm going to get them back in time before the mission ends. Nope. And so we probably will have to replace a couple of fighters on our way back home, but hey, we're right nearby the home anyway, and we do have some armor damage we need to patch up. I mean, they did do quite the number on us, surprisingly. So let that be a lesson. Do not underestimate a group of Lyran destroyers. Quick check on the supplies. They did a lot of damage to us. More damage than anybody else, and they killed 2 fighters. That's irritating on several levels. Get a quick restock of the Marines. After all, we use quite a few of them every time we capture one of their worlds. And full spare parts. And we're at 16,726. We have more than enough to buy any ship here. We could buy another Monarch battleship carrier right away. We couldn't buy a second one, but we could just right off the bat double our firepower. But that's actually going to do it for today's episode. I've been Tarek. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I post one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment. I will see you all in the next episode